Imagine spending 9 years trying to beat the hardest game ever created. You know every monster, you know every dungeon, you know every trap, and you know exactly which decision will get you killed. And finally, after 9 years, you reach the final boss, you open the gate expecting the ultimate battle, but instead of seeing the boss, the message appears tutorial completed. And before you can ever understand what happened, you wake inside the game. Not as an overpowered hero, not as a legendary swordsman, not as a someone mysterious mage, but as a barbarian. And the worst part, this isn't game anymore. If you die here, you will die in real life. Welcome back to ANIME PTB. Today we are going to talk about one of the most interesting survival style manhwa out there, surviving the game as a barbarian. And trust me, this isn't another typical I got reincarnated into a game and become the overpowered story, because in this world, knowing the game doesn't mean you are safe. Sometimes it just means you know exactly how you are going to die. Our story begins with a man named Hunsley. Hans isn't some famous warrior, he is a hardcore gamer. For almost 9 years he has been obsessed with a game called Dungeon and Stone. And this isn't an ordinary game, it's infamous. No player has ever managed to completely clear it. The game is ridiculously difficult and every decision can have consequences, but Hans has something most players don't experience. 9 years of it, he has memorized mechanisms, he knows monsters, he understands the maps, he knows which items are useful, and most importantly, he knows how the game works. After spending almost a decade playing, Hansu finally reaches the dungeon of the final boss. This should be the moment he has been waiting for. The moment all these years of grinding finally pays off, he opens the gate and then everything changes. Instead of immediately fighting the final boss, Hansu receives a strange message: tutorial is completed. And then everything goes blank. When he wakes up, he is no longer sitting in front of a computer, he is inside Dungeon and Stones. But there is something even worse. He is not Hansu anymore. He has been placed inside the body of the barbarian named as Byron Yandel. And this is where the real nightmare begins. At first, Hansu has one huge advantage. He knows this world, he knows the game, and that sounds amazing, right? Imagine being transported into a dungeon fantasy world while already knowing every monster, dungeon, and mechanism. You would think you have an easy time, but there is one problem. Hansu quickly realizes that this isn't exactly the game he remembers. The world is real, the pain is real, the people are real, and the death is permanent. There isn't a respawn button, there isn't a save file, there isn't a pause menu. If Byron dies, Hansu dies with him, and now he has to survive while pretending to be an actual barbarian. Because of it, the people around him discover that something is wrong with him. His situation could become even worse. So Hansu has to do something very difficult. He has to act like a Byron while secretly thinking like Hansu. Now here is what makes this story different. Hansu doesn't get an amazing character. He didn't get some legendary class with ultimate potential. He is a barbarian. And barbarians aren't exactly known for being sophisticated. They are physically powerful, aggressive, and built for combat. But Hansu isn't interested in simply smashing everything in front of him. He wants to survive. And that's where his gaming knowledge becomes his greatest weapon. Instead of asking, how can I become the strongest, Hansu asks, how can I avoid dying? That difference is extremely important, because Dungeon and Stone is the world where even a powerful character can die because of one bad decision. A monster might be stronger than expected, a trap might be hidden, an enemy might have ability Hansu forgot about. Or sometimes the problem isn't the monster, it's another human being. Hansu quickly understands something terrifying. Knowing the future doesn't guarantee victory, it only gives you information. And information is useless if you cannot turn it into action. For example, if you know a powerful monster is coming, you still need enough strength to survive it. If you know a dungeon has a trap, you still have to physically cross it. And if you know someone is going to betray you, you still have to convince them that you are not suspicious. This makes the story much more strategic than the average power fantasy. Hansu constantly has to calculate, should he fight, should he run, should he reveal information, should he hide, should he trust someone, or should he eliminate the problem before it becomes a problem. And every decision has the consequences. One of the best part about the story is watching Hansu slowly become Byron. At the beginning, Byron is basically a character Hansu is controlling, but as the story continues, the line between the Hansu and Byron becomes much more interesting. Hansu has to survive as a Byron, he has to speak like him, he has to act like him, and also fight like him and build relationship as him. This creates a very interesting identity problem because Hansu may know the world better than anyone, but he is still living someone else's life. And the people around him doesn't see Hansu, they see Byron, the barbarian. Another reason this manhwa is so addictive is that the way it treats progression. This is not simple. Instead of every improvement feels earned, Hansu has to think about resources, equipment, skill, party members, information, and most importantly, survival. He can't just throw himself into every battle. Sometimes the smartest move is running away, and that's something many protagonists refuse to do. Byron, he is absolutely understands that surviving is most important than looking cool. Because there is no honor in dying, there is only one goal: stay alive. Of course, Byron doesn't survive completely alone. Throughout his journey, he meets different people who eventually becomes extremely important to his survival. And this is where the story becomes more than just a dungeon adventure. Because Byron has built relationships while constantly hiding the truth. Some people trust him, some people don't, but some people also value allies. But others can become potential threats. The character relationships are especially interesting because Hansu can't simply treat everyone like an NPC. There is a real people. If one of them dies, it matters, and if one of them betrays him, it can completely change his plans. For me, the biggest strength of the surviving the game as a barbarian is the protagonist. Byron isn't just interesting because he is the strongest, he is interesting because he thinks. He doesn't always win because of the overwhelming power, he wins because he understands the situation. He knows when to attack, he knows when to retreat, he knows how to manipulate the circumstances, and sometimes he has to make a decision that aren't exactly heroic. That's what makes him feel different from many other manhwa protagonists. He's not trying to become the world's greatest hero, he's trying to survive. As Byron progresses through the world, the story gradually expands. With initially looks like a simple survival story becomes something much larger. There is a deep mystery surrounding the world, and the game mechanics become more important. The dungeons become more dangerous, the enemies become stronger, and Byron's decisions starts having consequences far beyond his own survival. The more he learns, the more question appears. Why is this world actually functioning this way? Why was Hansu brought here, and what exactly does tutorial complete means? And most importantly, is there actually a way back? These questions keep a story moving forward. The action in this manhwa isn't just about throwing a big attacks. The fight often feels like puzzles. Byron has to understand what he is fighting, he has to identify weaknesses, he has to use his environment, and sometimes he has to rely on his teammates. He sometimes has to make questionable decisions, but that's exactly why he is interesting. Because when you're trapped inside a world where one mistake can kill you, being a hero isn't always the smartest option. Sometimes you just need to survive. And that's exactly what Byron Yanderen is trying to do. So what do you guys think about surviving the game as a barbarian? Do you think Byron is one of the smartest protagonists in the modern manhwa? Or do you think he's getting too involved with the world instead of focusing on finding to return his way back home? So let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. ANIME PTB. Meet you in the next video. Until that, bye bye, sayonara.